Everybody I met seemed to be a rank stranger. No mother nor dad, not a friend could I see. They knew not my name, and I knew not their face. I found they were all rank strangers to me.
Good afternoon on this Saturday, June 27th, 28th. What's today's date, fellas?
27th.
27th. All right, Daniel B. here to host this event. G4V Cav Arts is proud to bring this event featuring our very own G4V Cav Arts cyber instructor and instrument builder, plus now he's a blacksmith. Danny Smith. Say hi, Danny.
Hello.
All right, and we'll be seeing Danny in a minute. Danny's a retired Army Master Sergeant, graduated, what were we up to, around 7 graduates now, Danny? Hello, Danny? Did we lose Danny?
No, I'm working on number 8 now.
Oh, number 8. Okay, thank you. So far from this Cyber Chapter guitar program. Also, Danny has built his own instruments. He's built some beautiful F-style mandolins. He built a guitar. Right now, he's working on a Telecaster kit, right?
Yep.
And recently, also a classic resonator dobro, and that's looking like a fine instrument, Danny. If you wish to hear and see Danny playing some of those instruments, go to his YouTube channel at Danny Smith Music. All right, so we're here today to learn a little bit something about 2 songs, Rank Stranger and New River Band. I'm going to let Danny explain what he's going to be doing today. Rank Stranger, I know, is kind of a gospel bluegrass song, and New River Train, does that classify as gospel, Danny?
No, that was more of a, I don't know if you'd call it a folk song or an Appalachian song, but there's many verses over the years. It's been around for a long time.
Oh yeah, I've played it a few times with in jams and with some people that I used to play with in Mississippi. So Danny, looking forward to this lesson.
All right.
I'm going to give it all to you, man.
All right. Well, it's good to see everybody today, and I appreciate you all taking time out of your Saturday to come and sit down and learn some bluegrass with us. So we've been talking over the last, what is this, number 5, I think? We've been talking over these last several months. We started off with some basic rhythm, some boom chuck rhythm, and then we moved on to some 3/4 time rhythm, and then we started working on solos. Last month we worked on a 4/4 time solo for Blue Ridge Cabin Home, and Blue Ridge Cabin Home, again, was a pretty popular bluegrass song, especially in jam circles. It's a straight 4/4 time, 1/4/5 progression. And Rank Stranger, on the other hand, is a 3/4 time song. And New River Train is a 4/4 time song. Both songs are typically done, Rank Stranger is typically done in either D or E, as in echo. And New River Train is traditionally done in the key of D, as in dog. And a lot of times, most people will capo at the 2nd fret. Most guitar players will capo at the 2nd fret and play out of the C position. So today we're going to learn these 2 songs in the C position. For Rank Stranger, we're going to capo at the 4th fret and play out of the key of E. And Billy Strings does it in the key of F, so he capos at the 5th fret and plays out of the C position. Traditionally, George Shuffler, who was the guitar player for the Stanley Brothers, he would kick that song off with the guitar, and a lot of bands nowadays will kick it off with the mandolin, sometimes even the fiddle. So the kickoff is what we call a turnaround. And the solos themselves are what they call turnarounds as well. And a lot of times the song is traditionally done a verse, a chorus, a turnaround, a verse, a chorus, a turnaround, and then in this case there's two verses, and the next time after the turnaround they just finish off with a chorus to end the song. So the way the turnaround works is it's not a complete solo. They take the last line of the verse and they make that the turnaround. So in the case of Rank Stranger, I'll play through the. I'm going to capo on the 4th fret. It's a little easier to sing. It's not so low. So the Rank Stranger song, the verse goes, I wandered again to my home in the mountain, where in youth's early dawn I was happy and free. I looked for my friend, but I never could find them. I found they were all rank strangers to me. Here's where the turnaround, that I found they were all rank strangers to me. So when you do that turnaround, they're going to go from that, I found they were all rank strangers to me, and then that quick F chord. And all that F chord does is lead you back to the 1. And so it goes to the 4 just one time the entire song, and that's at the end of the chorus and the verse after the singing is done. So it's typically a 2-chord song with that F adding a little color at the end of the singing. So the way the kickoff sounds, if you listen to that, I found they were all rank strangers to me. And then it goes into the chorus with the tenor coming in, everybody I met, really, really high. And then it echoes, seem to be a rank stranger, seem to be a rank stranger. And then it comes back in, and now the tenor will echo with the lead again. So if you had a chance to look at that video that I posted on the Cav Arts, I posted the traditional Ralph Stanley version of it on Reno and Smiley's Old Time Music Hour, and it's a pretty good recording. If you didn't get a chance to see it, I recommend you go look at it. And it pretty much has the George Shuffler kickoff and plays the song exactly like you would have heard it on the radio back in the 1950s. So the kickoff, I'm going to play through it one time so you can hear it, and then I'll pull up the music so you can see what I'm playing. So the kickoff sounds like this. So that's the kickoff. And it's a really cool, almost Carter style. And if you remember last month, we talked about when you work on your solos, you play the melody. That was straight up melody right there. I found they were all rank strangers to me. And then that F, that little walk down from the F. So I'm going to pull up the music so you can see what it looks like. So everybody can see that. Is it a good size? Let me move this out of the way. All right. So I think you should all be able to see that. I'll try to make this a little bit bigger. Everybody see that pretty clear? Yeah, okay. So it's got a little bit of a little start. So it's a rest, rest, and we've got 1 quarter note and 1/8 note lead into the start of the break. So it's a down up. So that's how it goes exactly to the tab. When I play it sometimes it comes out a little bit different. But if you'll notice, right in here, I think I got some markup tools here. Oh, there we go. So right in here, we have some cross picking. And it starts with that first fret on the E string, and then it starts with the up. So we're using alternate picking, straight up alternate picking. We got that. We'll go to the beginning here. So if you see, you start that down on that 0 of the E string, open E string, that's a down stroke, and then you come right up to the G string, open, and that's an upstroke. And then the 1 on the B string is a downstroke, and the 0 on the E string is an upstroke, and then back up to that G string is a downstroke, and then an upstroke on the B string again, and then a downstroke, and then an upstroke on the G, and then a downstroke, and then an upstroke on the E, and then you finish with that downstroke back on the G, and then you play your chord, your C chord. So that little section of the cross picking is actually done in the C, and then after you play that C chord, then that's when it shifts to the G. And then it goes to the F chord. Does that make sense what's happening here? And there we go. We got that out of the way. All right. So any questions what I've covered so far here? If you want to unmute and throw out a question, please do so. I can't see the chat. So if the chat pops up, Dan, you might have to help me out there. Anybody want to unmute here and ask a question? So again, this is in 3/4 time, and if you look at the notes, you'll see you have a quarter note and an eighth note, a quarter note and an eighth note. There's a lot of quarter notes and a lot of eighth notes, and then there's a 16th note on that little right down here. This section right here is a 16th note hammer on pull off. So that's a downstroke, and then half of that is an upstroke, and then you finish on that downstroke on the C note there at the 3rd fret of the, and I'm relative to the capo when I say 3rd fret. So what we've got here is a standard kickoff, and you can do this with any song. You just take the last bit of the singing section of the chorus. You figure out what the chords are for that last section, and then you figure out the melody for that last bit that you're singing, and then you can take and you can add hammer-ons, pull-offs, cross-picking, slides, anything that that sounds good to your ears, you can do that to create a kickoff or a turnaround to any song, really. And it's really traditionally played in gospel music. The gospel music usually has a kickoff because they highlight the vocal words that are being sung versus the instrumentation and how well the players are playing. So the focus is on the words, not typically on the instruments. Does that make sense? Paris, yes. Unmute and ask a question.
So on that verse where you're returning back, that's 1, 2, 3, fourth verse.
Yep.
What's the down up on the full C chord and then the
So yeah, I'll walk you through that. So
Thanks.
you're going to start off with a down. So it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And I was going to put the pick strokes in there, and I just forgot to do it. I put it. I know I put it in the last one, but if you think about the easiest way to determine your pick strokes is to your downs. Everything here is written in eighth notes, so your downs are always going to be on the beat. The ups are always going to be on the and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's so that we're in 3-4 times, so it's gonna play out a little different as far as the counting, but that downstroke is always going to be on the beat, even in 3-4 time. And so as long as you're ending a line and starting a line on the downbeat, and that's not always true. Sometimes you'll start the line on an upbeat. I think in the yeah, on this one, it seems like everything's going to be pretty straight. When you start that measure, it's going to be on a downbeat. And so, good question. The cross picking or the alternate picking is really, really important when you're playing bluegrass, when you're flat picking anything, because if you get there's few people that can do the down down up like Tony Rice did. When you're doing something like a cross picking or a run, always try to keep that alternate picking. It will always set you up for where you need to be. If I was to start that on the downbeat, it feels odd to me. But if I started on the upbeat or on the downbeat, it just gives me the feel. The hand is just moving. So so this is a standard kickoff, a standard intro that you'll see in most. I'm gonna close this here. So this is a standard kickoff that you'll see in most bluegrass songs that are, whether they're 4/4, 3/4, that are gospel songs. Will the Roses Bloom is another song that kind of has that same turnaround. Even I'll Fly Away, where nowadays I'll Fly Away we play full solos with it, but traditionally I'll Fly Away would be that last bit of the verse. And most of the time, your soloing and your turnarounds are always going to be played on the verse. The verse is usually what's used. So when you're finding your melody, you want to try to find your melody on the verse. And it gets real important in a song like, oh gosh, what would be, I was thinking about this the other day. There's a couple songs that when you go to the chorus, it starts on the 4 versus the 1. And if you played your solo on the chorus and everybody else is playing the verse, you're going to be off on you're not going to be playing the right thing, and it's just going to crash. So unless somebody says we're going to play the solo on the chorus, you're always going to play the solo on the verse. So the whole purpose of the kickoff is so someone can recognize the song without any singing. And so if you were to sit down in a jam circle and you say, we're going to play Rank Stranger, and somebody says, I don't think I know that song. When you do that kickoff, you've given them the chords by that melody. You've given them, it's a 1, a 5, a 1, and then a quick 4, and then a 5, and then a 1, back to the 1. So it helps you identify the chord progression. You can notice where the melody lands during the chord changes. So a lot of these, the purpose of these kickoffs is really to set a strong melody for the song, help the people that are playing the song know when the chord changes are coming, and it gives you that feel of the song, the speed of the song, the breakdown of the chord changes. So what can you do? This little melody here, this little kickoff that I do, this is pretty much something that I would do. It has some slides, it has some sustained notes, but the biggest thing it has is the dynamics, emphasizing the chord changes, and some pull-offs that really add a little flair to it. So if I was just going to do something simple, so that was a really simple all downstroke, using that same melody line to give me something a little more simple. So if the song's a little faster, you want to simplify a little bit. And yeah, that's about as much as I can cover on a turnaround. So before we move on to building a solo for New River Train, does anybody else have any questions regarding kickoffs and turnarounds? Nobody at all, huh? Man, you guys are, it's just so easy all the time. You guys just make it so easy for me. All right, so let's go and let's talk about a kickoff or a solo for New River Train. So New River Train is typically played capo 2 out of the C position, and that's what I built this break on. There's a really great video on YouTube, and it's Tony Rice and Norman Blake. And if you're not familiar with Norman Blake is a really, really great bluegrass picker. That he's probably one of the most underrated bluegrass pickers. He's from North Georgia, and he's just an unassuming player. He plays a lot with his wife nowadays. I think he's probably in his late 70s, early 80s. And he's just been quietly in the background for decades. And there's a video of him and Tony Rice in Tony Rice's prime playing New River Train. And Norman plays it out of the D position, no capo, and Tony plays out of the C position. And they sing together. Norman does the harmony. Tony does the lead. And it's just a great, I mean, it is really, really a great version of this song. I'm going to see, Paris posted this in the, I'm going to see if I can share this. So give me just a second here. And I think I got to remember I got to share sound too. All right. So I'm going to make this big, and I'm going to go back to here. And I'm going to minimize this. And I'm going to share screen, and I'm going to share sound. So let's hope this doesn't come through blaring. Can everybody see that? Yes, good.
And now, from Rounder Records, here's...
Can you hear it? Okay, beautiful. Here we go.
Norman Blake and Tony Wright.
Riding on that new river train, riding on that new river train, that same old train that brought me here's gonna carry me away again.
So that's the chorus, and now comes the verse.
Darling, you can't love one. Darling, you can't love one. You can't love one and have any fun. Oh, darling, you can't love one. Riding on that new river train, riding on that new river train, that same old train that brought me here's gonna carry me away again.
So here comes Norman's solo. I'm going to fast forward to Tony's solo.
Darling, you can't, same old train that brought me here's gonna carry me away again. Here one boy. Darling, you can't love three.
All right. So there we go. And so New River Train. Now you got the melody in your head. You can hear how that sounds. And so the melody of New River Train is going to be. I've got a pretty simple melody, and it's going to be. You got. Let's see if I can get this in my head here. So that would be the simple melody of New River Train. And I'm going to pull up my share screen so you can see this melody. So we got the side by side. Yep. All right. So this is the simple melody of New River Train. So that's your simple melody. You got a C. Darling, you can't love one. Darling, you can't love one. You can't love one and have any fun. Oh, darling, you can't love one. So it's 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. One chord. 1, 1, 1, 1, 5. 1, 1, 1, 1, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 1. And that's the verse and the chorus. The chord structure is the same. So let's all work through this melody here. It's pretty simple, and it's mostly whole note or quarter notes and eighth notes. In this case, it would be half notes and quarter notes. And then there's so that's what I wrote it out in. It's going to be played more with with quarter notes and eighth notes when you actually go and you start playing a solo. But we're going to do this with quarter notes and half notes. So we got, that's the walk into the melody. Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong. There we go. That's that would be that second fret, or yeah, the second fret relative to the capo. Has everybody got a capo on? Yeah? Okay. So relative to the capo, we're starting on that second fret, and it's so you got a quarter note, half note, quarter note, half note, quarter note, whole note, 2, 3, 4, and then there's a rest before you start in. That's when we change to the D or to the G chord, or the 4 chord or 5 chord. Man, speak right, Danny. The 5 chord, right there on that open note. That's leading us right to that 5 chord, and then right back to the 4 chord, and then the 4 chord. Sorry, there's the 4 chord. And now we're back to the 5 chord. And that's just our 1/5 bluegrass rhythm. So that would be playing through with a little bit of the melody and some strum with it. We can also, I've got a Carter style that I put together. That's pretty simple. I wouldn't play it this straight. If you remember when we did the Wildwood Flower, we did that out of the C position as well. And you could take a lot of that stuff that you learned in the Wildwood Flower and play that in the New River Train. I think when we talked about it, we talked about using that Carter style and maybe somebody putting together a video. Nobody did, just saying, but putting together a video that shows you that shows that Carter style on another song. And we can do that with New River Train. So everybody understand, everybody good with the melody? Do we need to cover the melody anymore? It makes pretty good sense. But here we've got a little Carter style, and I'll try to play it as straight as this is. It's all quarter notes. So I'm gonna try to play this as straight as I can. So if I was going to play this, I would just get a little freer with the stiffness and do something like this. Something like that. And it just depends on the speed of the song if we're playing in a jam. The speed really, I'm not a fast player. If we play a song at 80 beats a minute, all day I'm there with you. As soon as we get up to that 100 beats a minute, I become like I have Tourette's or something. It just gets really bad. The hand just doesn't do what it wants, what I want it to do. And so practice is all I can say that I need, is just keep practicing. But this melody here, this Carter style melody, you can embellish it moving around with some slides, with some hammer-ons. So you see, you could play around with it as long as you can feel the melody in there. The melody is always king, always king. So the more you can add the melody, the better it's going to be. And adding little tricks here and there is great. And you saw on Norman's, he had some really cool, the walk up when he switched to that 4 chord. When he went that do 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 and walked up the with the double stops, those are great things. And then Tony, he added a little bluesy lick when he went to the 4 chord or the 5 chord the last time. He added that little G lick. Something like that when he went to that 5 chord. So how would a solo work in this? A solo is, in my opinion, is a little funner to play when the song is a little bit slower, and it gives you a chance to put some. There's a lot of good chances to put some licks in here when you think about this. Let's think about how the melody goes. Darling, you can love one. There's a good spot right here for a lick. Darling, you can love one. Here's another good spot for a lick. You can love one and have any fun. Oh, darling, can love one. So when you go to that 4 chord and then to the 5 chord, there's a chance to, 1, stay on the melody, or 2, add some licks. So I put together a solo somewhat like I would play, and I'll play it without looking at this, but I'll try to stay as close to this as I can, but you can hear an idea of what I'm talking about. Something like that. Anyways, so what I've got here, now I'll play it. I'll try to read this and play exactly what's being played. That little chromatic walk, it's really nice, and you'll hear Doc Watson do that a lot on a lot of his songs. That little chromatic walk back to the root chord, to the 1 chord. So with this, what you see here, we have melody until we get to the change to the 4 chord, to the 5 chord. And then at the end, once we change to that 5 chord, we have a G run. And then when we go back to the 1 chord, in the melody, here's a lick. So, any questions on what I've got here, and then let's walk through each section slowly, and we'll do a measure at a time. So, anybody have any questions? No questions. Okay, so let's walk through this first measure and talk about what's happening here. So it starts on the 1. It starts right on the start of the measure. The solo starts, so there's no walk into it. We start off with a. So that's just a hammer on with the melody. And you should end on a downstroke. So we got that intro, riding on that new river train. And then we're just right back into a little rhythm strum. And then we go into that second part. But let's go back to this beginning. Let's play through this again real slow together. 1, 2, here we go. So that second measure is just a C chord, and it's just a 1-5 strum, root 5. And I've got 2 strums in here. Sometimes I might do 1 strum with a little syncopation. I might do a down, up, down. Just depends on the feel of the song. So back to the beginning here. One more time, we'll go a little faster. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now everybody could see that when we hit that little bit of a chord after the hammer on, there's a ghost note, so we're holding that line out, and I can't really see. So it's an 8th note and a quarter note tie. So I'm counting, but I'm trying to keep my hand moving so I can feel my pick strokes. Does everybody get what I'm saying there? I'm keeping my hand moving, and that's doing the counting for me. I'm hearing the melody in my head. Riding on that new river train. I can't sing that and play it at the same time. So we got. One more time. Is that everybody understanding that? Does anybody want to play that for us at your speed? It doesn't have to be fast. Just unmute your mic, play the first and through the first bit of strums. I'm going to challenge you guys today. I want to see everybody take a chance. Go ahead, Paris.
I'm your huckleberry for this one. I'll try it, but okay. Ritual apology accepted, I hope.
I think you need to turn your original sound for musicians on, Paris, up in the top right corner.
Top right. I'm looking top right. I don't see that.
You don't see original sound for musicians?
I see. Hang on, more down here. Nope. Well, on to somebody else. What in the meantime?
All right. Anybody else want to try? Kurt?
My question is, you're holding a C chord in the beginning of that riff, and you're just kind of like hammering on with your second finger, third.
Yeah. Yes, I find I find it easier to stay right in that chord than to pick up and move away, because you should be able to play that, but because you're strumming that, you're already there.
Okay, okay.
Try. Let's hear it.
No. Okay, so it's. We'll get there. There it is.
Yeah, and try to use that. Try to use that index. So keep in the shape of that C when you do that. So I'm just picking up, and I'm doing that bend with my index.
Oh, okay. Okay. So. I need to blow that up bigger so I can see it better.
All right, let's see if I can do that.
Hey,
That help? That help at all?
I can definitely mess it up now. So it's getting the right string.
There you go. Yeah, I think and the more you work through that, it'll start to feel more natural. So if you get used to, even if you just went into a good way to practice this idea. Just get that. I'm just playing that first little bit, and I'm just counting it out. There you go. So I see you're playing. Are you playing your C chord like this right now?
Yeah, I do a C chord and then I reach up with my pinky to do the low.
Okay. So what I would recommend. Just for when you're moving into a solo section, that you keep your pinky free. So one, it allows you to play a C7 before you go to the F. But you got what am I thinking here? Yeah, it allows you to play that C7, but you can move that finger. And so since we're on this section right here, I'm gonna move just away from the tab a little bit and give you an idea, just an idea of how you can take this little bit of line and use the notes in the pentatonic scale to change this just a little bit. So right now we have this. So we got that. Wait. Something else you could do, I'm just going to add a few more notes, and I'm just going to add a few more bluesy sounds in that scale, and it looks like this. the only thing that changed is I added one more note, and I just played a little more in between that bottom of the C chord, that C triad, and the hammer on. So I'm just doing, just coming right back to it. And that's filling that empty space in here with a, and then I'm right back into that, right onto that hammer on. And then instead of that, just playing that 2, I'm bluesying it up a little bit by walking up to it. And then I'm setting up that pull off with by bringing my index finger up to walk up to the 2. And then I'm right there for that hammer on, or for that pull off, to go to back to the root. Does that make sense, everybody? All right. So, does anybody else want to try their hand at it? I hear you. I see you, Paris. Well,
Yeah,
I hear you.
I'm gonna give it a try and see if this work does.
Give us a
somebody said
strum
next to the mic symbol. So let's try that.
There you go. All right.
Okay. Again.
That's perfectly acceptable. That's straight up Carter style, and I could hear the melody, and that's what you want. And I know if you were on the first couple of workshops with me, you noticed I didn't do tab. I don't want to say that I don't prefer to learn by tab. The reason is I feel it makes me too rigid. It makes me, if I have to follow this, it takes away what I'm feeling in the song.
Right.
I'm not
I
saying
agree. What happened for me, Danny, and the breakthrough for me was after the last lesson you gave us. I kind of tossed the tab aside and said, I just want to get these chords under my fingers and then start pulling off and hammering on and seeing where the melody is with those techniques.
Yeah.
And that's been really helpful.
So I'm not saying that you shouldn't use tab. What I'm saying is tab is a great tool, and I learned, my mind was changed about a month and a half ago. With actually, I think it was longer ago. It might have been in March. I did this month-long workshop with Jake Workman, and if you don't know who Jake Workman is, he played with Ricky Skaggs for about 12 years, and he's one of the cleanest, fastest bluegrass pickers out there. And he basically said that, tab is a tool, just like every other tool that you use. Your metronome, it's a tool, but your metronome shouldn't be you shouldn't have to rely on your metronome, but you should be able to use it. You shouldn't have to rely on tab, but you should be able to use it. And that opened my eyes, and I'm like, he's absolutely right. It is a tool. It helps. Sitting down and writing these tabs out has been extremely beneficial for me. It ingrains what I'm playing in my head, but then it allows me to understand the theory of what I'm doing, but also how to manipulate what I'm doing. So as I wrote this out, that's where I heard that. I heard those things, and being able to hear those things as you're writing out the tab really, really opens up your eyes to what you can play and where you can play it. And remember, you're always, when you're playing, you're always one note away from a good note. When you think about the scales, if you're one note off and you slide up to it, you meant to do that, right? So we've got the first two measures down. Let's look at what's happening in this third measure. So it starts off the same. There's where we go to the 5 chord on that open D note. And D is the 5 of the fifth note. Does that make sense? I'm playing that open D as I go to my G. And so that gives me that lead in. There's 3 good notes that you would use when you're soloing. Your 1, your 3, and your 5 always give you a place to start when you change chords. If I was to start on the 6, it probably wouldn't sound right. Let's see how that would sound. It just doesn't work. That leads me somewhere else. That leads me to the F, which that would be the 3 of that F chord. So hitting that D note leads my ears to the 5 chord, and then that gives me a chance to play a little lick because there's a pause once I go to that 5 chord. So back to that measure 4, we're going. That's my measure 4 and measure 5 together. So let's play this together really slow. Again, it starts off exactly the same as the measure number 2 with the hammer on, and then the open G string. But instead of doing a hammer on to that A, or relative to the capo, instead of doing that hammer on the 2nd fret, I'm moving back up a string. And then I'm coming back down and doing the hammer on to set me up to finish with that open G string, and then to go into my D string to switch chords. So here we go. Nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. So one more time. You should be ending that D on a downstroke. Did everybody end on a downstroke? If you didn't, let's talk about it. Everybody ended on a downstroke? Gene, you good? All right, Paul. All right, one more time, nice and slow. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, so let's add this G run to this. And the G run follows the pentatonic scale with that blues note, that flatted 3rd. That's your typical G run. Got that open A string. And that, we're going to talk about some pick strokes here. You should start on a downstroke. That counts as your upstroke, that pull off. And you should end on a downstroke on that G string. Everybody see what I'm doing with my hands here? Watch my pick hand. Can everybody see my pick hand? So you see my hand goes up to mimic that pull off. And I've been trying to work on this because I've really focused on my alternate picking. But another good way to do that is to finish that with rest stroke. So it would look like this. You see how I kept that pick down before I pushed through that G string? So I'm rest stroking when I hit that G, when I play that. Makes sense? And that's, you'll see a lot of these really, really good bluegrass pickers. That's the technique that they use that really gives you a solid downstroke to give you that. Dan, am I doing good on time? I can't see my time.
Pretty good so far. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. I can't see my time, so I don't know what time it is. All right. So we got that little walk up. And then we're off to with a little, we got a dotted quarter note and an eighth note before we move into what I call a C lick. This is a Doc Watson lick. It's a straight up, if you listen to any Doc Watson, you're going to hear this lick. And I'd say 95% of the songs he plays, if it's in the key of C or out of the C position, you're going to hear this lick. And it's a really cool lick. It's got some dissonance in it. Hear that dissonance there? It just sounds so good. And so that lick, just that little bit right there, is a great lick to learn. So that, we're going to play that lick. We got the 3, open, 5, 3. You got your, I think that would be the flatted 5. And then you've got that open E string again on an upstroke. And then you got your root on a downstroke. And then you got an upstroke on that open G string. Then you got a downstroke on that 2nd fret of the G string. Upstroke on the open G. And now we're changing to the F. And it progresses a little further. Oh, that wasn't the F, sorry. That was still the C lick. Here's the F. So let's go back to the very beginning of that measure 4. We'll start over again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we go to that C lick. And we'll stop right there as we talk through this. Has anybody got any questions on where we're at with these measures 4, 5, and 6? So we'll play through it one more time really slow. So we go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. as we go into measure 7, we're walking up to that F string, to that F chord. And then I'm just dropping, all I'm doing is I've got a C, and then I just drop my finger and play the bottom of that F chord. And I'm hammering on with my middle finger on that G string 2nd fret. Or and then we finish it off with a G run or a G lick. So let's go back to that C lick, play through the F chord. So we're going to go to measure 6 and measure 7, and we'll stop at that measure 8. But we want to get this this little C lick down. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody feel all right there? That C lick is the last half of that C lick, you could do a lot with that because all you're doing is you're just playing around in that scale. Where am I at here? So we got that C lick. We'll start from the beginning here. That C lick on measure 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then when we move into measure 8, it's just a hammer on to set up our G lick. And if you'll notice, we got that hammer on. That's 2 downstrokes. That's an upstroke with that hammer on, a downstroke, and then a tie note. So we're starting that next open string on an upstroke. Real important. If you don't, when you go to that, when you move up to that, you're not going to be in the right place, and the pick strokes you really notice it if you start with the wrong one. So it starts with an upstroke. So go back to the start of measure 8. See where I set up? I just finished an upstroke. So back to measure 8. Down. Hammer on is your upstroke. A downstroke, a pause because we've got a tie note, and then we're doing an upstroke. So it's an up, down, up, and now I'm starting that next one with a downstroke, and that counts as my upstroke, and there's an upstroke. That's an upstroke, that pull off. That's a downstroke on that C note. So we got I should finish that second time I hit that C note at the start of measure 9 with a downstroke. I want everybody to play just real quick, read through it, play measure 8, and tell me if you're not ending up with a downstroke. I'm not going to play it with you. I just want you to play it. I want you to play it, read it, play it, and tell me if you're ending with a downstroke or not. And then we'll talk about why and what we need to do. So, anybody ending it with an upstroke when they hit that C note, that root note? So we got I'm going to play through it again. And I'll show you my pick strokes. That's about as exaggerated as I can get. Everybody see what I'm doing there? All right. Any questions on measure 8? And we're going to play through this here shortly. So measure 9, the way that I have it, I have a quarter note, and then it's all, or it would be, in this case, it would be an 8th note, and then a 16th note walk up. So what I like to do sometimes, if I get it right, when I finish that, there was a straight up, all chromatic, all the way back up. But if I play that first note and I hesitate, then I have to remember that I have to cut one note short. And if that doesn't make sense what I'm saying, I start right away. Now, if I don't start right away, see, I had to cut one note short. So where this matters and how this plays out, if I play and I go right to an upstroke on my open E string, I've got 7 or 8 complete notes that I can walk up. That entire 3-fret chromatic scale all the way back up to my root note. If I pause an 8th note, I have to start with a downstroke. So when I get there, that gives me 8 notes. This gives me 7 notes. And it'll make more in context. I'll play through measure 8 and 9. I'll play it both ways, and you can see what I'm talking about. Now, how it's written sounds like this. So you see, I had to cut one note out so that I can get that. I had to cut out that flatted third right there to be able to get it in the time and finish at the root note. Questions on that? Anybody? Yes, Paris.
Okay, there we go. Just on that last measure, so you're starting on the downstroke on the tab 3, and are you upstroking on that E string?
If I go right from that 3 and I upstroke instantly and I keep it all 8th or 16th notes. So there you would add your flatted third in there. So what you're doing?
Oh, okay. You put the Okay, yeah, you're ready. Okay, got that. And what about hitting the chord on the last note instead of just the note? I'm hearing
You can do
you
that
hit
too.
that note and then the chord. In other words, you're splitting that half note into note and chord, but you could go
You could, yeah, you
and hold that for two, right? I mean,
absolutely. You
okay.
can end this. You can end this any way you want. You can finish it. There, I just finished with the boom strum. You could do
Yeah.
that too. Yep.
Okay, yeah, got it. Okay,
And
thank
so
you.
that's the cool thing about this is you can use this little bit, and you can make as many licks of it, as many licks out of it as you choose, and just play. I would tell you just play around with the melody, and play around with these licks. And in fact, I think next month what I'd like to do is I'd like to put together just a collection of licks and G runs that are beneficial because there's so many things you can. I mean, the C run, you can finish it there. You can do that. So there, I just did a real quick, easy C run to get to that ending, and right back into my rhythm playing. All right, so let's. What I want to do is I'm going to change, Daniel. I don't know if I can do this. If I can change my layout, yeah, I can.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to change the layout to content only, and then we're going to walk through this, and I'll make sure it's legible the entire song. Can everybody see the notes on there?
Yeah, that works right there.
Okay, so what we'll do, we will walk through this at a nice slow pace. I'm gonna probably keep it at about, let's try about 50 beats a minute. Here we go. Sorry about that. I added one note too many. All right. So that's the full walkthrough of it. We'll do it one more time. Was it too fast? If it's too fast, tell me. I'll slow it down. We're good? All right. Here we go. Here we go. Change the ending again. So that's the cool thing about. I mean, you can really play around with this ending and do really whatever you would like to do. So we've got 12:30, so we're right on time, right, Dan?
Yeah, we're doing good, buddy.
Okay. So are there any questions regarding this New River train? Does anybody want to try to play through with me playing rhythm for you? Nobody? We should do like they did in school, pick somebody and say, okay, here we go.
Not
So
ready yet. Need to get that under our fingers a little bit, Danny.
Okay.
The
So
other
let's-
thing is when you're trying to play together in Zoom, it's going to have that latency.
Oh yeah, the latency. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So we are at the point. Unless you got a little bit more you can do, Danny.
I pretty much, I hope I covered it well, and I hope,
I think you did excellent. Even I got something out of it.
I don't want to overload, but I also don't want to make it boring. A lot of these concepts, they take a lot of time to practice, guys. And one thing, what I would tell you to do, and I learned this from Jake Workman, pick a section, set your metronome at 50 beats a minute, and do, let's say if we look at this section right here, where you, oh, that's eraser, I got to put it on pencil. If we look at this section right here, and you set your metronome, and just do that. Just play in that section over and over again. You know it starts, if you look up here, you see that it starts on the start of a 16th note run of single notes. You know it starts with a downbeat. And just play that over and over again. Because the strum is easy. The little strum pattern is easy. This little first part, that's easy. That's something that you play any time that you're playing rhythm. But this, play it faster. Set your metronome, 50 beats a minute. Play it for 30 seconds. When you can play it completely flawlessly for 30 seconds. Then bump up your metronome a little bit. Get that this would be an 8-note measure. Get that 8-note measure down. Get it up to about 75, 80 beats a minute. And then move on and do this section down here. You can add in that little chord strum, or you can just take the first part of it and play that until you can play it faster. Play this section over here. Over and over again until you can play it faster. It ends on an upbeat, so if you're not ending on an upbeat, check your pick strokes. And then when you walk into that next measure, you should be starting on a downbeat. So that's what I would recommend you do. Go through that, pick as much or as little as you need to get it under your fingers, get it faster before you don't try to practice the entire section, especially because there's some parts that are going to be easy for you. Find the parts that are hard, woodshed them, get them to where they're under your fingers and you can play them without thinking about it, and then move on to another section. Once you get that next section down, put the two together and then woodshed those until you can play that longer section completely without error, and then move on to another section, split it, lengthen it, and then add them all together. And then eventually, like me, in about 2 months, you can have it down. All right, guys. Well, hey, I appreciate you. And like I said, I appreciate you being here. Next month, I think I'm going to put together licks, some more, I don't want to say advanced rhythm because it's definitely not advanced rhythm, but more intermediate style rhythm with some cross picking, it's just some tricks to move from one chord to the other, and then some really cool G runs. There's some really great G runs. There's like a triplet one I'm working on it right now. It's got a little triplet beat in there, and it's really fun. I'll have it down by the time we work on it next month. But I think that's what we'll do next month, unless anybody has any other suggestions.
I just found out I can kill your sharing.
Kill my sharing. Yeah, I probably should have done that, huh?
Yeah, that
I
would
really like this. This is good.
Very good, Danny. That was actually,
Thanks, guys.
like I said, I learned a little trick or two in that. Everybody that does presenting, I always glean a little bit from.
Good.
So, thank y'all for stopping in today. There's beverages in the back, and leave a quarter in the basket on your way out. That'll help us to fund these things. Anyway, let me do this. I got to do this here. Also, coming up is the usual. Have a look at your CavArts calendar. Go on CavArts to see what the upcoming are. Next week is iJam. We're going to do Guitar Shop on the second Saturday of the month, next month. And it's going to be on, we're going to take a look at semi-hollow, hollow body and arch tops guitars, and the old amplifiers. It's going to be kind of a look back at the 30s and 40s and 50s of electric guitar. So as far as the gear is concerned, we're not going to give you a history lesson, although there may be a little history in it. And of course, workshop or workbench with John DeMarco's team. And again, office hours. And thank you for helping us out there, Paris and Kurt. Let's see. Oh, and then right back to Danny at the end of the month. So our pleasure. Thank you all for being a part of This Is Bluegrass. Guitar for Vets is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to providing relief to struggling veterans through the healing power of music and community. Since 2007, Guitar for Vets has served at-risk United States veterans impacted by PTSD and other service-related trauma. Through our unique 10-week structured guitar instruction program, putting the healing power of music in the hands of our nation's heroes, helping to foster renewal, community, and connection. On behalf of Danny and myself, be well and keep on strumming.
I found they were all